Good morning once again, and welcome to the next session here for pre-conference of Dare to Be Great 2. And so we were in the green room just a little bit ago, and I've got my good friends here. We were testing everything out, and this is going to be good. We were having fun already, singing, dancing. You might see a blooper later on after the conference, so that'll be excellent. So
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
yeah, maybe. So here is our next presenters for the next session, and it is Finding Your Voice as a 911 Wonder Woman, and of course, Sarah Weston with the 911 Wonder Woman group, as well as Halcyon Frank with the Dispatch Lab. Take it away, ladies.
Oh, we were trying to do an intro air horn, guys, and it didn't work. Let's try this again. Ready?
Ready. We're here to kick off the conference.
This is so exciting. We're channeling our inner Regis and Kelly vibes this morning. That's the setup we're going for.
Yes.
So
here in my living room.
Yes, there's literally we just kicked toys out of the way to make room for this setup we have going. So
yes, there are so many Legos on my floor right now that you can't tell it's a floor. It just looks like a pit of Legos.
It's a death trap.
However, we will post a picture, and we'll send one to Ricardo later of the entire setup because it's pretty hilarious. We're using the Lego box for the laptop stand. So here we go.
We're super professional, so be prepared. But we're super pumped to do this morning, to kick off pre-conference, to start it all off. And yes, exactly, Caitlin. I can't even talk, so this is going to go well today, guys. It's great. The crowd goes wild. I'm sure you're all cheering and think we're super awesome by now. And if you don't, we don't want to hear about it. So
just keep that to yourself.
Yes. So we'll start it off with finding your voice as a 911 Wonder woman or man. This is really for anybody. It is not just as a woman. We all are human, so we all kind of struggle with the same things.
Yes.
No matter who we are. So as we go through, if you have comments, questions, concerns, whatever it is, you want to tell us how great our hair looks, feel free to let us know in the comments. We love it. We really want to make this a discussion for you guys. So we'll get started.
Yes, here we go. As Halcyon said, we want to make this a conference kickoff. So definitely make it interactive. So we'll be watching the comments if we seem a little distracted.
Sarah already broke our thing.
And
so it's fine.
I'm trying to advance the slide. So that's what's going on here. Hold on one second. So yeah, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Sarah Weston. I have been in the 911 industry for 15 years, a little over 15 years. And I am a consultant with a consulting firm called 911 Authority. I've been there we go. I've been doing that for 15 years, and also about a year and a half ago, I founded the 911 Wonder Woman community, and that started as a private Facebook group, which it still is a private Facebook group for women who are involved in 911 in any way, just as a safe spot for people to come and connect. And we'll talk more about connections during this presentation and why it's so important, and to ask questions of each other and to support each other and to build each other up. We have since grown from there. We have an Instagram and Twitter account. We have our own website. Our website hosts blogs that you all write and send to me, along with a bunch of other tools and resources that would be useful for women in our industry. As of a week or so ago, 911 Wonder Women is a nonprofit organization, and we are still awaiting our 501c3 status, so more to come on that, but who I am. I love public safety. I love 911, and I love working with all of you. Halcyon.
So I'm Halcyon Frank. I am the founder of the Dispatch Lab, which is training dispatch resources as well as the Be an Encourager brand. Just, a brand to support and encourage in a time where there's definitely a lot of negativity floating around. I've been in dispatching for a little over 6 years. I currently work for a county agency in eastern Nebraska, fire, law, EMS, the whole shebang. So that's where I come from. Still full-time, still night shift. So I have a lot of makeup on to cover the dark circles. Hopefully it's working. My story is pretty succinct compared to Sarah's.
Well, she's a lot younger than me, so
it's true.
You'll have it.
It's less life. And the shirts in the picture will at some point be available
today.
Oh yes,
today on 911woman.com. So you guys can check that out.
After we're done talking, you can slide over to 911woman.com and pick up one of those shirts.
I'll be able to tell if you do.
Yeah, so. We can see the time on the order. So
stay with us.
Yes. Thank you, Tracy. You look fabulous too, even though I can't see you. I just already know that you do.
We know. You wake up looking fabulous.
Mm-hmm. Woke up like this. We will just kind of dive in. We're going to talk about 3 kind of big overarching themes today. Find emotional intelligence, find your voice, find your confidence. Again, we do kind of speak from the perspective of women, but it really applies to anybody. And we speak more from a dispatch perspective, but it really is any job, any woman, any man, anywhere. Because again, these are all like similar struggles that we're all going through. So emotional intelligence. This is so big, not only as a person, but also in our industry as well, because it's about empathy and connecting and being able to work really with other people, especially when we're on the phone with callers and you just have that small amount of time to connect with them to make it the most efficient phone call you can. So we are going to dive in. I'll just make Sarah run the PowerPoint. So I love this quote. Change happens in the boiler room of our emotions. So find out how to light their fires. And we're going to go through 3 kind of pillars of developing your emotional intelligence. And then the last one, we'll circle back to this quote. So the first one is practice self-awareness. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we are the only ones we can control, right? So it really starts with us and knowing ourselves and how we react to things, how certain things make us feel, kind of what our strengths, our weaknesses are, very much knowing especially what our strengths are versus our weaknesses, so we can do things that gear more towards those so we can be the most effective. The second one is responding to conflict instead of reacting. We are in a customer service business. We're constantly interacting with people, whether it's over the phone, on the radio, our coworkers, whatever that might be. So this is a big one too, because it's also a very emotionally charged industry. We're dealing with tough calls and a lot of emotion, whether it's anger, sadness, frustration, whatever it might be. So really learning. And it's really about remembering there's no good or bad emotions. It's really good and bad reactions. So if something upsets you, if something makes you sad, if something is frustrating, that's okay. You are more than welcome to feel those feelings. It's really about then how you channel those and how you're displaying those and what that looks like. That's when you get into the good and the bad and what's appropriate and not appropriate, especially in the workplace. You can be angry, but don't scream at people. That's what I would warn against. And then the third one, which is where we circle back to this quote, is using empathy and relationship management and speaking to people in their language. And I think especially narrowing it down for women, this is hard sometimes because most often, not always, we are the more emotional of humans. And there's very much a disconnect when you're working with maybe a male in the workplace or especially in a position of authority, because you're more likely to maybe approach it with emotion. And they don't talk in emotion. They talk in black and white. And you can't speak to their language, and you're not going to be as effective if they're talking in this language and you're here. So that's really when you want to nail down what is it that they're talking, how is it, what's their language, and then converting kind of your message to then be able to go into their language and speak to them. So I think we talked about before, I know Tracy Eldridge talks about, like if they're an emotional person or not, if they just want black and white, don't send them a story about all the stuff that you've done. Just send them the answer, which I can relate to because I'm kind of more of a black and white person, if you ask my mom. But, look, if it's somebody that you do tell the stories with, then that's fine. But don't give that black and white person a full story. Just give them the answer. So we're kind of touching on everything pretty quickly this morning, but we want to make sure that we give you guys a lot of value and a chance to discuss everything. So that's our first point.
Yeah, I have a couple of things to add on to what Halcyon said. So you all know you're working your centers or your office, and you have, your coworkers that you don't necessarily choose, right? So conflict happens, and it can be very emotional, and it can really be a poison in your workplace. So what Halcyon's touching on is like, you are not going to change the other people. And unless you're going to go get another job, this is the environment that you're having to deal with where you are. So you are responsible to take time to reflect on yourself and how you are responding to what's happening around you. And then once you can reflect on that and notice how you're reacting and notice when you're getting upset and what you do when you're upset, then you can start to take control of it. Then once you are understanding yourself better and your emotions better, you can take that step to say, oh, this happens, I'm going to react like this. So I need to prepare my mind, like this person's going to confront me. I always get defensive. So this time I know this person's going to confront me. I'm not going to get defensive. I'm just going to listen and nod and take it in and respond in a different way than in conflict in an argument. Also, part of that is what Halcyon was saying is like meeting that person emotionally where they are. You have to get to know your coworkers and the people that you're sharing so much space with all the time, and just understand them so that you can meet them where they are.
And that's all we have to say about that.
We have another quote.
We do have another quote. I like. Okay. So this is also a great one. Never react emotionally to criticism. Analyze yourself to determine whether it is justified. If it is, correct yourself. Otherwise, go on about your business. If you caught our episode of We Are All Mad Here, we talked about being intimidating and what that means and kind of the different interpretations of that. And we kind of touched on it. This is basically like the more professional way to say, what I was saying was basically like, if someone gives you feedback, take it for what it is, consider your source, reflect on it. Is there any truth to it? And if not, they can kick rocks. And you say, thank you for your feedback. And in your head, you go, kick rocks. So it's the nicer way to say it, in case anybody was wanting, like, how can I say this in a better way?
I like that because you have like, you need to take care of yourself, right? So if you're in this conflict and you're getting upset, it's like a cue you can have, like, okay, they're saying these things to me. Why are they, like, you need to say, like, why are they saying them? Is any of this, can I reflect on this? Is any of this valid? Like, maybe the way they're saying it is crap, but like, is any of this valid? Like, thank you for that, and kick rocks. Like, just
go on.
It's, it is, it's hard. It's hard. We are emotional. We react how we react. We've been doing it our whole lives. So in order to learn, we really have to give it some thought and really think about the situations that we're in.
Yep. That about sums it up.
And we are watching the comments. So, if you have any questions as we go, feel free to chime in.
Maybe we're going to keep it kick rocks. Like you might have a more colorful way to also say kick rocks, but we're just going to leave it at that as well. So.
Oh my gosh, what do you say? Build a bridge and get over it. That's funny.
That's what my mom used to tell me.
Yeah, let us know if you have any more good ones.
Yeah, build a bridge, get over it, and then you die however you want to.
I always tell my son it'll be better by the time you get married.
I feel like you're setting him up for failure, but it's fine.
That's a lot of pressure on a 5-year-old. I'll have to evaluate that.
Yeah, well, we're going to also do some self-reflection after this presentation is over.
Yes, that kind of leads into our next topic, which is finding your voice. So we're here sitting in front of you talking about all these really, really difficult topics. We are not perfect.
Not even by a long. No. We are definitely speaking to you on this. And just so you guys know, as people who also struggle with this. And so we really too want to like come alongside you and be like, we still suck at this, but here's what we've found that works for us and has helped us. So maybe it would help you.
Yes. We all come from situations with a lens. You know, I always say we're not mental health professionals by any stretch of the imagination, but through what we've been through in our lives, we can use, and what we've seen, we can use to put out there and use our voices to try to help you find yours. So the only way to find your voice is to use it.
And that's it. We're done. We're going home.
Mic drop.
Have a good day, everybody.
It is so true. And I know because I have really struggled with this my entire life. We both come from big families.
Yes.
It's always been kind of like a group think atmosphere in my life. And I was shy and scared. I didn't want to sound stupid. I didn't want, to open my mouth and people be like, oh, what is wrong with that person? So it's...
Which you're probably thinking right now, but it's fine.
It's hard. It's hard to kind of find that inside of yourself. And for me, it took a catalyst. So for me, it took a situation where I was standing up for somebody else, or at least I thought I was. I was in a bad situation. People were saying, a person was saying things to me that I knew wasn't right. But I'm like, well, it really isn't bothering me. So I'm just going to let it go. And I had this realization of, if I'm going to lead women and empower women or empower anybody, I can't let this stuff slide. Like, I have to walk the walk. And by doing that, by speaking up, it wasn't for me. It wasn't speaking up for myself. I was speaking up for everybody else. I was speaking up for the next woman that this person was going to say something to, because I didn't have the confidence or even like the worth to say, this is wrong. No one should treat me like this. I was saying, no one should treat my sisters like this. So that gave me the strength. That was my catalyst to speak up. And then I realized something. Like, I did something. I felt better. I did it and I didn't die. I spoke up and, nobody...
She's still here.
I'm still here to tell the tale. And then, that gave me confidence. And then each time I did it, I gained more and more. And then I realized that I did not have to be a certain kind of person. I say certain kind of woman because that's what I am. I didn't have to be this certain kind of woman to be successful and to have people respect me. Because when you're trying to be something else, you're not going to do it as well, because that's not who you are. Your light shines when you're being yourself and you're speaking up for yourself and you're doing you. And that's when you're at your best. So I really want to encourage you to kind of think about those situations in your life when you're like, my idea of a professional woman or professional man is this. So this is what I have to be. You have to behave professionally. You have to like conform to the rules of your job and your office. But you have to be you and speak for you. And there's a way to do that professionally without just trying to be some ideal of what someone else wants of you. Yikes. I get emotional about that because I've really seen the difference in me and the women in our group. So I'll tell another story. Like we, watch as people comment and tell stories on the Facebook group of going into meetings. So like, have you ever gone into a meeting, sit around the table, and you're intimidated for whatever reason? For me, it's always like I was always a young woman at a table, seasoned professional older men, and I never had the confidence to speak up. So like, I'm sure that's happened to all of us. And I love hearing stories of, I was sitting there, I had something to say. I normally wouldn't say anything, but I thought about our group and I thought about how it makes me feel. And I stood up and I shared my idea and they liked it. Or I stood up and shared my idea and they mocked me. Either way.
That's on them.
That is on them. That happens. It's not all like a happy ending story.
And we all don't have great ideas all the time. Like
right.
let's take a small moment and let's just have a moment of real self-reflection for a second. Like we think our own ideas are like super great a lot of time. And like, it's not. Like we stayed up way too late last night, which wasn't a great idea. At the time, we thought it was an okay idea. It wasn't. So we do have to remember that too. It's not always about us. Our way is not always the best way. It's not always the right way. Just to interject a little bit too as well, like you can be you and still respect and embrace other people's ideas because you have to allow them to be them as well. You can't come in and be like, well, I'm going to be me and everybody, like, I'm just going to be me and everybody should accept it. And then not accept those around you when they're being them. So that's my interjection.
Yes, totally agree. I have just a couple of tips for speaking up that I've learned. I've learned the hard way. I find we learn our best lessons the hard way. Like, in some form of another, some are more traumatic than others, but messing up is okay. And you have to mess up in order to grow and to learn to use your voice. So just know that. But
say even like, especially, sorry, for dispatch from the point of view, if you're a trainer or if you've ever trained and you're a dispatcher, so I would imagine that you've trained at some point, you would agree that you probably learn more from making the mistakes. There are a handful of things that I will never, ever, ever do again because I screwed it up. And that's how I learned. And I've learned my lesson much quicker. It was a little harder by screwing it up than I did by doing it perfectly. So.
Amen, sister. So a couple of tips for speaking up. Make sure you're calm. And this is hard because a lot of times in my life, what has made me speak up is when I got fired up and like mad enough to do it, which is okay. To feel that, like, again, you can feel the anger, but it's the projection that matters. So try to be calm. Think about what you're going to say before you say it, which, again, these are things that I have to practice. These are things that I have to say to myself, as obvious as they are. I say these to myself, and I still react poorly, of course, but it has helped me. Listening. So communication is a two-way street, and you have to take in what that person's saying, no matter what. And sometimes through our lens and through our filter, it comes into our brains differently than what the person means it, which is hard when they're saying something that upsets you. So you really have to kind of strip down what this person is saying to you and listen so that you can respond accordingly. And I always like to use the word, like, we get defensive. When you get defensive in a conversation, it turns into a confrontation. It turns into a fight, and it's hard not to. So that's a cue that I tell myself is like, don't get defensive. Don't get defensive. Don't, like, as I'm listening to the person speaking to me, don't get defensive. Don't get defensive. And it's hard, but it helps.
Easier said than done.
Yes. And if y'all have any tips for, like, when you're in a difficult conversation and you're trying to use your voice, but you're trying to do so in a respectful way, let us know, because it's hard. And I think we can all use a reminder.
We need all the help we can get.
Send help.
So, yes. Send all the help. We'll take it all.
Anything else on finding your...
I think that's big. It's we're going to go into find your confidence, but it's definitely a principle that goes with both of this idea of the best way to do it is to use it. Like, you're like, but I need it before I can use it. But you have to use it, and that's what's going to build it. And it's kind of the same way with your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be willing to kind of put yourself out there. I will say that I have a wonderful friend and mentor, and anytime I'm like talking down on myself, he's always like, you are the prize. You are the mother effing prize. And I just want to start by saying, you guys are the mother effing prize. And if you don't believe you're the mother effing prize, no one else will believe that you're the prize. So first and foremost, if you're having a day where you don't feel like you're the prize, look in the mirror and remind yourself that you're the prize, because it's very much something that of course, it starts within. And in order to find it, you've got to start somewhere. And if he's starting somewhere is looking in the mirror in the morning and being like, I'm the prize, then that's where you're going to start. So we'll go to the next slide. Sarah, geez, slacking. But on that topic and bringing it back to a professional aspect, this is a great quote. If you've never seen the TED Talk by Sheryl Sandberg, it is fantastic, especially for women in the workplace. She has a bunch of wisdom nuggets, and I love it. No one gets the promotion if they don't think they deserve their success. If you are a freshman in college putting in for an open heart surgeon position or a surgeon position at a hospital, like, no, you're not going to get it, no matter how confident you are. But if you know that you've put in the work, you've done the learning, you have the real world experience, then believe that you are more than qualified for that position. Because especially if you get to the interview portion and you go in not thinking that you're even qualified, then that's probably what they're going to see.
They'll reflect.
Yeah. So first and foremost, you have to believe in yourself. And, there's different ways to get that. We get that from support around us, and sometimes it's easier said than done. And we get that from things we accomplish. And so along with that too, in order to find your confidence, definitely pay attention to your accomplishments and what it is. I know for me and Sarah, we've kind of been on the journey together of starting businesses and a nonprofit and working together, and just take a moment and think, like, 6 months ago, what could you not do? Like, we've created websites and we've, figured other things out that when we really take a second to think about it, we're actually like really talented. Like, we actually have learned a lot and we can do a lot. So really too, taking that moment to reflect on, like, what have you accomplished? What's, things that you can do now that you couldn't do 6 months ago, things in your career. Like, if you're a supervisor now, thinking back to what got you there, and letting that also build up your confidence and know that you are capable of anything you set your mind to, and put in the effort and the work, to have the knowledge and skills that you need for that. So
yes, I feel like we're always like striving for the next thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, I did this awesome thing. What next? What next? What next? What next? And that's cool. I mean, you're driven and you have goals, and that's fantastic. But like you have to reflect. Like when Halcyon just now said, like, we're talented, I giggled. Why did I giggle? Like, yes, we are. Yes, you are. And that's just like the reaction. It's like you kind of like shrink into yourself, and we need to, in order to build your confidence, you have to have something that you're confident in. You have to base that on, you have to ground it in knowledge. Nobody can take away what you know. People can try to strip away your confidence all day long, and maybe they're successful, but they can't take away what you know. And you need to take some time and like write down all the things that you know, all the things that you've done, all the successes that you have. And whenever you're feeling like you're not confident, go read that. Mm-hmm. If you're going in for a job interview and you don't feel confident, prepare.
It's helpful.
Right?
It's a little help. Like, it kind of helps you out.
Be the most prepared. Be the most prepared person in the room. Google everything. Read all of the books.
We love Google.
That's going to help you. It is going to help you. First of all, you'll have more to say, but you'll feel like you can say it. You'll feel more confident. I also like to think about, we do a lot of things in our lives. So we're parents, we're siblings, we work, we're friends, we have a hobby. There's something in your life that you're confident about. I was going to say I'm confident as a mom, but
I saw this morning. Like, I'd love to support you in that, but I'm just gonna.
I am a confident runner. I can run. I love to run, and I run
away from her problems.
So I know. Yeah, that didn't sound.
And her children.
Run away from her children.
Run away from her children.
They're fast though.
They are.
Trouble. But we all have like an area in our life where like, I'm confident in that. So we know we have it, and we can apply it to other areas of our lives. So keep that in mind. You have confidence. A lot of you go into 911 centers every day and answer a phone, and you have no idea what's on the other side. It could be anything, and you do it. And
it is amazing that so many of us will go and we'll sit at a console, and we will literally take a life or death situation and handle it and go on about our business. And oftentimes, we might have emotional things that happen afterward. If we're new or if it's a new experience, we might like struggle with some confidence and thinking, did we handle it right? But at the same time, like, we will so often handle these things and we're like, okay, let me go on about, like, you just handled a life or death situation. Like, you can handle this job interview, because most likely, like, barring any odd circumstances or events, no one's life is at risk in this interview. Like, maybe if it's a certain type of job, I guess, I don't know. But like, I don't want to say never.
Unless you're joining the mob.
Yeah, like, I don't want to say that. Like,
we don't recommend.
Everybody will walk out of this interview alive, because never say never. But for the most part, it's like, you just did that. Like, you were more than confident. And if you can't find your confidence, find your courage. There's quotes about it takes 10 seconds of insane courage. We might be looking for confidence when what we really need is courage. And that's sometimes, if you can't find the confidence, find the courage, because then you're still able to step up and do that. I am confident in my ability to be witty. I'm hilarious.
So funny.
But
so funny.
Now I'm distracted, but kind of circling back to and putting on my trainer hat. That was what I remember, and it will always stick out to me. I had a professor in college that said the same thing. You know, they can take your physical possessions. People can take whatever they want. They can't take what you know, what you've learned, what you've Googled and learned, what life experience has taught you, what college has taught you, whatever it is. No one can take that from you. So really also remember that to help fuel that confidence of you know what you know, and nothing that happens can take that away from you, and you'll always have that with you. So definitely something again, that I learned in college has stuck with me and reminded me when you brought that up. So that's kind of our thoughts. But again, if you can't find the confidence, find the courage. And eventually, as you continue to find the courage, you'll find the confidence.
It's like a muscle. Mm-hmm. You have to flex it. You have to train it. It's not easy. You can do it.
And Sarah is an excellent cheerleader. So if you need one.
I was never a cheerleader, though. I was a gymnast. So those two don't mix.
We don't associate with
but nothing, not that there's, I mean,
you can't
cheerleaders are the best. Yeah, cheerleaders are the best.
Okay, this is, I think, going to be our favorite part. Because one thing, and as women that we know that we do, or even as people, we're like, but Sarah and Halcyon, what about this? And no, I don't have anyone, and no one supports me, and everything's terrible. My life is the worst, and how can I do anything you're telling me to do? Listen, Linda, we're going to tell you how you can do it, because we're about to take away all your objections, all your excuses, everything. We're taking them away today. After today, you're going to go out. You're going to kill it in life. You're going to accomplish everything you want to do. And you're going to be a badass. So,
yes.
Also, I feel like, okay, now we're done. So going into objections, the first one, I don't have anyone to talk to. I don't have, people to bounce ideas off. You haven't been in my Facebook Messenger inbox. You haven't been in Sarah's. So, reach out to people. Kind of goes back to have a friend. You got to be a friend. And it's not to say that you can only talk to us or that everybody should talk to us, because, again, we don't know what we're doing.
Well, I don't have time for that, but I'll find you the right person.
But yeah, too. So if you do, find those people that you trust, or find people, we're more than happy as well to connect you to people as well, if we can find them in your area, anything like that. And it takes time. If you're an adult, it takes time to find those connections. And as life changes, connections changes, friendships change. But you got to put yourself out there. You have to be willing, and you have to start from a place of being a friend. To get a friend, you have to be a friend. So, I like to joke that I'm very much an introvert, and the only way I'm going to get a boyfriend is if he breaks into my house. I complain about it, but then I don't leave my house. So it's I'm just sitting around waiting for him to break in. Clearly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know where you were going with that. But now it makes sense.
Because how else, I don't go out. So how can I expect to meet anyone? Except on the internet, which is risky, but it's the same way being a friend. People are not going to break into your house to be your friend. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and support them to get the support back as well.
And there are ways to do it. Now in this time, especially with all of the dispatch Facebook groups, all of these, you're meeting all these people through these virtual sessions. They're giving you their contact information, not just for fun. We want to hear from you. We're doing this to help you. I mean, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm really happy Halcyon came from Nebraska to Florida to come hang out with me.
There's lizards here.
We had a lizard incident last night. We'll tell you at the end if we have time.
I don't like it.
But I lost my dream. Yeah. So we didn't know each other in
last year.
In 2019.
Yeah. This is new.
And we met just by, talking, interacting with people online, like talking, like I talked to Ricardo, like who's Halcyon chick, like, you know, and,
why does she have a weird name?
Yeah, how do you say that name? And
sounds like a weirdo.
How do I meet her? Which my 2-year-old says her name really well, which is just it's like impressive. Fantastic. But this is the kind of thing where you have to be vulnerable and be like, can I contact this person? There have been several people who have messaged me through the 911 Wonder Woman Facebook group and have said, I'm going through this. Do you know anybody that could help? And I messaged Tracy and Halcyon and like all of my network of women and say, hey, I have a woman and this is her issue. Like, do you know anyone she can talk to? And like kind of be that conduit. And you can do that, but you have to take the risk. Like, Joe Stereo is going to give you his email address at the end of his presentation. Email him if you have a question. I mean, reach out.
Side note, I would say, I don't know any speaker that's speaking this week at the Dare to Be Great conference that would like not talk to you. Mm-hmm. Like if you're reaching out, they're going to do what they can to help you. There's not a single one that's not going to. Side note, Caitlin, tree chickens sound terrible. That creeps me out.
Oh my.
I got to get back to Nebraska where it's just regular chicken. But yes, Tracy.
First step, ask for help.
Closed mouths don't get fed. Like that's kind of the reality of it. Mm-hmm. You know, we can't know what you're thinking. And yes. we more than are willing and we so want to help you. Because again, like it goes back, like you support someone, they support you, and everybody benefits from it. So we don't want you to suffer in silence or be alone or anything like that. So always make sure that like you're reaching out. And sometimes, depending on who it is, you're not going to get maybe the positive response you wanted, or maybe you don't get a response. But also don't take that as whatever you said or like what you're going through wasn't valid or worthy of someone's time. It's those are all individuals, and honestly, maybe they just don't know how to run technology and they never saw your message.
Yes.
So definitely don't let that stop you.
Yes, keep trying. It's going to take trial and error. It's going to take work to find your person, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
Yes.
So I want to challenge you through the next couple days of this conference to reach out to someone. Maybe someone in the comments made a comment and you were like, yes, girl, mm-hmm. That's awesome. Do you want to be Facebook friends? I love what you said. Tell me more. Or like email one of the speakers or like ask one of the speakers if they know someone who can help with this. Do it.
Yes. And exactly, Joyce, you never know what will affect someone else. And Christine Bannister is doing a session with her daughter, which is going to be excellent.
It's going to be amazing.
Just like she said, reach out to Christine. If you watch the session and you're like, hey, I have kids and I can relate to this and, connect on something, reach out to her because yes, we're doing these sessions, but at the same time too, our genuine intention is just to be here and help. And also because, like I said, it comes back on us too. It's, you may be reaching out to me because you think that I can help or like you'd like to talk to me about something. And so, but really it may help me as well. Like you may inspire something for me or give me an idea, or then I'm asking you a question and it changes. And I love my coworker, Jamie, dearly. Can you trade your person in if she keeps abandoning you in Nebraska? No, you're never getting rid of me, even if it's just when I come back.
No trading, so no returns, no refunds.
You're stuck with me. Yep, no refunds. But yeah, reach out. So I think that's for that. Mm-hmm. Moving on to the next objection, I'll let you take this one about getting involved.
But Halcyon, I don't have any way to get involved.
Lies.
Okay, moving on. That's all I'm saying.
Sarah's a liar.
There are so many ways to get involved, and they don't necessarily cost money. So one thing that has come out of this horrible COVID-19 global pandemic is free trading on the internet. So much, like more than you could consume probably. but it is up to you to find it. It is up to you to register. Like, thank you for being here right now. Like, you have taken a step. That's awesome. Keep going. Keep going. You know, we talked about reaching out and how to reach out to people, but there's APCO and NINA. You have your state chapters. If you don't know who your state chapter president is or people that are involved, go on social media and look up Nebraska APCO NINA, or like Google it. Google it. I mean, there. If you want to get involved, you have to put the work in. Again, it's not going to come knocking on your door.
I'm really sorry if you came to this session and thought we were going to be like, and everybody else is going to do everything and fix all your problems. Because we're definitely like, no, this is on you. People will be there to help. But the moral of the story is, like, we've got to put in our own work.
And we know that, you know, there are some centers where you do feel alone and you feel like you're stuck. And, you know, we're talking to you right now. Like, we feel you, and you have to empower yourself to get after it, or we're empowering you and you need to empower yourself. And I think, you know, a lot of times when we're feeling so alone, we spiral into that way of thinking like, I don't know, I'm stuck. There's nothing I can do. And it's harder and harder to pick yourself out of that. So this conference is going to make you feel like $1 million. Mm-hmm. You are going to love it. There's something for everyone. And use this conference as a way to pick yourself up, to get involved, to get moving, because you've done it. If you're here, you've taken the first step.
Mm-hmm. And as Jennifer said, shameless self-promotion. Twice a month at Dispatch Lab, I put out a newsletter that's majority is free training or beneficial training resources that you can use. So you can sign up at thedispatchlab.com.
So I like what Mark says here too. Like, it's not even, you know, this isn't even like a woman to woman thing. I've had several amazing male mentors in my life, and I wouldn't be where I am today without that. So on the flip side of that objection, if you are a person who is in a position to help people, please help people. Be an encourager. Empower them. Like, you have no idea the difference you can make in someone's life just by saying, hey, I saw what you did there. That was cool. Like, do you need help? Do you want to talk? And that's, you know, I think that's really important in 911.
And another one, I know time is kind of winding down, so just so we can get through very much, I want to touch on another objection is anytime I speak up, anybody puts me down. First and foremost, to put it bluntly, like, some people are going to be jerks. Like, that's just the nature of life. Let me say that again. Some people are just jerks. And it won't matter what you say or what you do or whatever it is. They're just going to be that way. And it has zero to do with you and everything to do with them.
Yes.
And I know there's a quote, I've seen it on Facebook recently, and so many of you might as well, that says, some people are going to support you because it's you. And some people will never support you because it's you. You could cure cancer, and they're going to be the troll in the Facebook comments like, well, they didn't do it by themselves. They had help, you know, discrediting you, doing whatever it is for no other reason than it's you. And so using that as objections as to why you can't accomplish something is kind of crap, because it's something we all experience. And there's plenty of people out there doing amazing things and pushing forward who are having the same issues and who have people who are always going to not like them and not support them just because of who they are. There's always going to be haters.
Haters going to hate.
Mm-hmm. Potato's going to potato.
Is that a Nebraska thing?
It's just a thing.
Okay. Well, on that note.
I like how, wait, I'm reading a comment. Okay.
Well, I'm just gonna
how do you get rid of those non-supporters they seem to cling on? You could try not showering. I wouldn't recommend it.
That's what I do.
Maybe like if you just smell, they'll leave you alone. But it's a good question because sometimes too, like we all encounter people who maybe like social cues aren't their strong point and they don't like take a hint. But definitely like putting the distance. Sometimes you don't have to be rude, but you do have to kind of be forward with people and let them know how you're feeling. Maybe that friendship, relationship, whatever it is not working, that you need to put some distance there. And it's hard. It's very hard, especially too, because if you're not like, you don't want to ever hurt somebody. And, sometimes even I struggle, like I have the be an encourager and like sometimes I just don't want to be an encourager. Like I just have those days where that's not my thing. You know, it's like I need to go to bed and wake up and try again. But I also have to be realistic in that there's some times where you have to have those hard conversations. And so it's not always going to be easy. But that's one way to make sure that you've communicated it. You've made it clear. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think setting boundaries, we could do a whole other presentation on setting boundaries. So maybe Google that. Boundaries are important for our emotional health, and you have to put yourself above caring about hurting someone else's feelings sometimes. And if you don't, it's never going to change. So also, finding someone else to talk to that maybe knows that person. I'm not telling you to gossip. Gossip is horrid. Like, please try not to gossip, but just confiding in somebody and saying, hey, I'm having this issue with this person and like, I need some perspective. Give me perspective. But sometimes
you respect?
There's not a whole lot you can always do, but you can try.
Yes. Yeah, definitely though, like doing what you can to create that space. So, maybe it's talking a little less to them, physical distance, that kind of thing. Hopefully that was like somewhat helpful.
I hope. It's hard. That's hard.
Yeah. So we'll go to the last one. I was like, what other slides?
Oh yeah. You can ask us questions.
We don't know how to see them right now.
Can we see them? Are there questions? Ricardo, let us know if there's questions.
Go back. We're not done yet.
Oh, sorry.
The last objection is just, I've never been that person. I've never done XYZ, fill in the blank.
I've never done that before.
Well, you're going to start. Just like we talked about, like we've never created websites before, but somehow we have them now.
Oh my gosh. So just yesterday, I was trying to do something and I was like, Halcyon, how do I do this? And she was like, I don't know. I've never used that before. And then
choose a Google.
Type, this and this. Like, oh. And now, boom, I have a new thing. And it was just, you're not going to get somewhere without doing something you've never done before. You're not going to get that promotion without applying for that job and putting your hat in the ring.
Preach, girlfriend. Just like I'm not going to get a boyfriend if I never leave my house.
You're never going to get a boyfriend.
Never.
You never leave your house.
You're not, like she said, you're not going to get that promotion if you don't put in for it. You're not going to get that, whatever it is, fill in the blank. You're not going to be a runner if you never go buy some tennis shoes and put them on. Like, you can't just be like, I'd really like to be this. Then you need to go out and be that. You are more than capable of doing anything it is that you want to do, like we said before, but you have to be willing to take that step and do that thing, which leads us to our last point. You can do the hard thing, get the promotion, lead the team, whatever it is that you're facing right now, because you have a lifetime of evidence supporting why you're capable of it. You didn't know how to go to the bathroom. You learned. You didn't know how to spell your name. Most of us learned. You know, you didn't know how to drive. Again, most of us learned.
Oh
some
my God.
better than others.
Does this resonate with anyone out there? I am a mom. So any mothers out there who like, you're pregnant, you are anticipating the birth of your little angel, and you're like, wait a second, how is this thing going to come out of me? Like, you don't know how to do it. Like, you do it the whole mother thing. I mean, like, if you're a mom,
There's no handbook.
don't say can't for anything, because you know that you can do what you have to do when you have to do it.
The baby didn't stay in there. Like, it had to come out eventually. And no, I mean, like, just think back to the beginning of time. Like, how did they know? Like, but we figured it out.
We figured it out.
So you're going to figure it out.
It's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy. Some things may take 5 minutes and a YouTube tutorial. Some things might take 6 months. Your degree might take 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, everything is on its own timeline. So, but you've made it this far. I mean, like, in all seriousness, you've been potty trained. You learned how to drive. You learned your alphabet. You learned how new words. You've learned how to have a home, have a job, all these things that you've done and probably don't even like think about. Like, you have this whole lifetime of evidence as to why you're capable of anything you want to be. So that's,
yes.
I think that's our last, start wrapping it up here. We did create an additional resource.
Yes.
Because we're fun like that.
Yes.
We have, if you go to, the dispatchlab.com and click on the We're All Mad Here page, scroll down, you will see a PDF. We just wanted to pass along some ideas and suggestions. If you're anything like us, you're always looking for stuff that we've got books and quotes and our power playlist that we pumped up for this morning, as well as podcasts that inspire us. These are the things that we've read or are reading that really have spoken to us and motivate us and inspire us. And then we also have a blank version that you can fill in for yourself. So if you have books that you want to read, you can write it down. Quotes that you want to remember, you can hang it up at work, whatever it is. So that's there. Thedispatchlab.com. Go to the We're All Mad Here page. And it's there as well. It's also on the 911 Wonder Woman page, the new one.
Yes, it's on 911wonderwoman.com in a section called By You, For You. There's a couple of cool things in there. And when we were talking about this, we really wanted to share some perspective that would resonate with the 911 community, but also expand beyond a little bit, where you could take other sorts of lessons and then apply them to your life and apply them to your center. So a lot of the books and podcasts, not all of them, but a lot of them are not dispatch related, but have really helped us.
Yeah, and they're definitely lessons that you can pull, because any professional and personal growth you do, even if it's not a dispatch focused, is only going to make you better as a person and you better at your job, because then you can do those lessons. And there's so much overlap between so many jobs and positions that, just because it's not dispatch doesn't mean that it can't be beneficial. So hopefully, if you haven't read some of those books or listened to those podcasts, you guys find those helpful. Some of them, just have a lot of like what we call like wisdom nuggets. Fairly easy read, but great stuff to pull out. Some of them are a little more like call you on your crap kind of books, because that's also kind of the style that we like. So some of them might be a little tough truths. Oh yes, thank you, Tracy, for posting.
The link.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
That'll get you there. Perfect. We're not that prepared.
We need to read a book on marketing.
Yeah, that's our next thing, guys. Sorry, we'll do better. So
we're getting better.
Yes,
we're getting better.
How to get in touch with us?
Yes. So the 911 Wonder Woman email address is there, 911wonderwoman@gmail.com. That's the website link. You can find 911 Wonder Woman. If you're a woman in 911, you can join our private Facebook group. You just search for it and click join. And please answer the admin questions, please do me a favor.
It makes our life easier.
And then also we're on Instagram and Twitter by the same name. And like I mentioned at the beginning, we are a nonprofit organization. And it's going to be several months before you'll hear probably anything more
Still amazing
about that. But yeah, it's going to be cool. It's gonna be great.
So if you want to get in touch with me, I have the dispatchlab@gmail.com. And why would I put my websites on here? Because that would make sense. But you can also check out thedispatchlab.com. Or
it's okay. Tracy's got us.
Yeah, she's good. Or beenencourager.org as well for all the Be an Encourager swag and such that I know you all want. But also on Facebook and Instagram as well. Those are both on there. I think our only other thing we were going to mention is if you happen in the comments, you have a shot at getting a little swag bag. We'll draw a name, pick a person, and we'll send you a message, get your address, send you a little box of goodies for that.
Goodies.
So,
Ricardo's back. That means
yeah. Stop, guys.
Wrap it up.
Stop talking about Ricardo, guys. He's back.
No, not at all. I was just coming in at the end. I was just waiting for you to finish.
Do we have time to tell the lizard story?
There's a question in here really quick, actually.
I guess we'll answer that.
Yeah, and then you can tell that story. So there's a question that came in that says, how to get past the stigma of trying to make things better when most in the center are negative.
Such a good and common question.
Great question.
First of all, it starts with one person, or negative or positive. Any kind of culture change has got to start with one person. So you definitely have to start there. And it's not going to be overnight, but you have to use your own influence to work. I will say with the disclaimer that there are times where like it either is going to take a long time and it very much feels like it's never going to change. But on the flip side, if you never try, I guarantee you it will never change. Nothing will be done. So very much start with your own influence. Look for small ways. I call it subtle influence of, can you do like a kudos board? Can you write notes for people? Just small and little ways that you can kind of crack that negativity shell, if you will. And because you'd be surprised, I think when people receive some of that stuff, it does make them more likely to turn around and do it. Again, it's not overnight. It's not always an easy process. But always remember it starts with one person. So you've got to start there. And I would say, initially find those little ways. Maybe you can bring candy and that makes someone, people happy a little bit. Maybe looking for just those little ways to brighten the day, because then eventually somebody will take notice. I don't know if you have any other ideas.
No, that was fantastic. Sometimes it's very frustrating to be the only person trying to be positive, and it's exhausting and you want to throw in the towel, but don't, it's just, it's going to be hard. You got to keep going.
Mm-hmm. I wish it is such a common question. And I wish I could be like, well, here's my 5-step plan to change the culture of your center, but it's not that simple. But I would also say that this conference and knowing who's speaking as well is great too. And I would encourage you to keep watching, because they're also going to have some very good suggestions on how to make, positive influence and maybe things you can try as well. So yeah.
All right.
Your decorations. Oh, Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, in my center, I decorate. That's what I do. It's not about you, Sarah. Nobody cares about your decorations. In our center, I will put like a board and then I'll take a picture and put it in the 911 group in case anyone needs any inspiration. And then Sarah tries to make it about herself. And I'm like, it's not about you. It's about me.
Get over it.
Yeah, even simple things like that, just like cheering up the atmosphere can be helpful.
Awesome. Well, Thank you both very much. That was an excellent session. I don't know how many quotes I have on here for the recap later on, but there are tons of them. You've got
to the audience.
You've got 2 minutes for your lizard story.
Okay.
2 minutes.
I hope this is worth your time. So last night we were sitting out on my patio. So I live in Florida, and in Florida there are lizards everywhere.
Ooh.
Everywhere. Just, it's part of life. My 2-year-old likes to chase them around and try to pick them up and says, hold it. Can I hold it? I'm like, whatever. So Halcyon discovered this yesterday. It was like, I don't think I like it here in Florida. It doesn't agree with my bangs. Mm-hmm. Anyway. So,
humidity and bangs, people, they don't go together.
We were doing a training session and Ricardo was on FaceTime. And we're just sitting on the patio, and my husband comes out of the bedroom with a lizard that he had trapped in a cup. And he was like, this is what happens when you leave the door open. And he let it out. And it jumped onto the laptop just over my beverage, like skimmed the glass of my wine. And ran around. It was, yeah.
I almost walked to the airport and got on the plane.
She was done.
At
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah.
What they don't mention is the fact that they were both,
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of screaming. I had to go like this because it was hilarious. But I did. My ears bled just a little bit, but it was good times.
A little few drops. We apologize.
Yes. No, it was good. Thank you both very much for sharing all of it today. This has been excellent. This has been a good start. And again, for all of you who are watching, make sure to go through the comments, read everything that was on there. A lot of people took quotes from you as well as the links for everything that they are doing. And it is just amazing for the both of you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes. Thank you.
It was a great audience.
Have a
today.
great conference, everyone.
We'll be around in the comments.
Well, oh yes, we will.
All right. Have a good one, everyone. We'll go to the next session, and I'll bring you all over with me. Have a good one.